favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? One abstention? Okay. All right. The quarterly report, let's get that out of the
All
way.
right, in a nutshell,
You might need to pass that around.
well, under the last part, Linda pointed out apparently something that was untrue. We had, in the first bullet point, unassigned fund balance monies are appropriated for various capital reserve funds. No money is actually spent in our town's balance sheet, simply what's money moving around. Linda went, wrong. The monies are invested through the trustee and trust funds. So we ixnayed that line, we put monies invested through the trustee and trust funds. That was the end of that bullet point. The biggest go around was with our two little, this is who we are, what we do, and why we're doing it, when we do it, we're doing it. What we used to say is the Alstead Advisory Budget Committee is comprised of volunteers who provide an independent perspective on our town's budgeting process, as well as offering our budget recommendations to Alstead voters and the Alstead selectmen. Meetings are in blah blah. Somewhere in there, things, there were issues. And I rewrote it and I put in independent twice. And independent recommendations also, I don't know what the hell I wrote. Anyway, so Chris Reitman rewrote it to the Alstead Advisory Budget Committee is comprised of volunteers who provide an independent perspective on our town's budgeting process and recommendations to the select board, leaving out Alstead residents. My feeling was, it was quite clear in the deliberative session, the Alstead residents wanted to hear from us, so I injected, our town's budgeting process and recommendations to Alstead residents and the Board of Selectmen. As of last night, it appears that Brock doesn't like the Alstead residents part. He felt like, whatever. But after the meeting, he just said, oh, you're just darn liberal. And what that has to do with it?
That's a moot point. The selectmen did vote 2-1.
2-1,
So
so
with the wording.
if this is cool with you, we gotta vote on it again, because it's going out tomorrow.
Has anybody bothered to look at the original motion?
Yes,
I don't
we
I
all.
think the original motion really matters, to be honest.
Well, did it say, I believe it said selectmen and voters.
But you have a different select board.
Yeah, so,
That's
Yeah, but
the
what,
argument you're gonna get with that, and I don't
I
have a
know,
postcard.
they
with
can
me.
change it if they want to, but
no, I
it
think,
stands at the moment.
at the moment it stands, but for the next mailing, perhaps we should think of more
So,
all-inclusive global.
give us the way it's gonna go.
The Alstead Advisory Budget Committee is comprised of volunteers who provide an independent perspective on our town's budgeting process and recommendations to Alstead residents and the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
I move that we approve this for inclusion in the bill.
A second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous. That was easy. Does
Thank
Linda have that, those wordings, or do we need to make sure?
No, I need to send it to her.
Will you do that
I
tonight?
shall, I will, I can.
Thank you, Mary Ann, again.
Not a problem. We need to really think about it for next time. Won't be that easy.
You got a precedent now.
We had a precedent
Had a
before.
We had a precedent, which just was, it was a onesie,
And
we don't know about.
we're gonna make it be different again
Right.
after.
That's okay, I think middle ground is always
After
nice.
Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I'm quite sure that the part of the report was part of the original motion.
It
And
was.
if that isn't informing the voters, I don't know what is.
There was something like that on the postcard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the three new guys wouldn't send out the postcard.
But,
But we already
but
are,
they
all right.
can't
We
change.
don't know that. We can't
Yeah,
make
I know,
assumptions.
we can't make
We
assumptions.
get annoyed with them if they did, so we're not gonna make assumptions.
All right.
So.
Moving
All
on.
right, school board warrant article, ballot item number 9. The infamous one that they had to send an extra mailing out because they screwed it up. They contradicted themselves between this and this on that, but basically reads, this warrant article is petitioned by taxpayers residing in Charlestown It would change the present formula in the Articles of Agreement for sharing high school expenses from 100% ADM, average daily membership, to a formula based on 50% ADM and 50% equalized valuation. Equalization is the process by which the New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration makes adjustments to each municipality's locally assessed property values to calculate the estimated 100% value of the municipality, effectively making lower assessed towns on par with higher assessed towns. Based on present memberships for 2015 through 16, if this article passes, the change in apportionment formula and tax assessments would be as follows. And for Alstead, we would go, it would be a decrease of about 0.2%, and that would affect the town's total assessment by about $16,000. Now, and yet Walpole would go up almost 7%, Charlestown would go down 9%, so you can figure out who put that warrant in, petition for it, okay? It says, please keep in mind that average daily membership for the district towns change yearly based on number of students enrolled and attended. With current formula, towns' percent of shared costs can go up if they have more students enroll or go down if they have less students enroll. The school board does not recommend this article. 1 is in favor, 5 are opposed. And the select board of Alstead is opposed to it. The select board of Walpole is opposed to it. I believe Ackworth and Langdon are also opposed to it as well. And so Joel did contact me and asked if we would like to take a vote on that and include our opinion with theirs in the letter that will go out tomorrow. Any thoughts?
Sure. Why not?
Let's take a vote.
No? Yes?
Discussion? Julie, you look like you're contemplating.
Well,
You want to read it?
no, I didn't get that. When did you get the additional?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, so you mean it's in my car right now because I only just picked up my mail?
The only reason they sent it out was because of the fact that,
That's the problem. Then I could, yeah, thanks, yeah. no,
the problem was is that in here, it said,
They approved it,
they recommended it, 1 yes, 5 no.
right.
You know, and in here, they said they did not recommend it, 1 yes, 5 no. So they needed to send something out to clarify because they obviously didn't catch it.
They didn't proofread it. There were others
And
think
the-
of as some
And
type
the
of.
thing is that this committee they did not invite anybody from another town whatsoever. They formed their own committee in the town of Charlestown, and they came up with this decision to try to change the articles of agreement. But it takes 2/3 vote to change it. So there'd be a lot of other towns vote on that.
When I first read the article, I was thinking that this is a reasonable way to have
Anybody else?
the proportion of wealth be more responsible for the proportion of paying for the high school. But Joel's explanation last night seemed to me to be that that's already taken care of in the way the state could use their formula. So that it's not really gonna accomplish that or accomplish something else. It would just double the effect of what the state does in its equalization formula, so.
Well, he did also say that the equalization formula is often the subject of litigation, and he's been in court more than once in the last 10 years, if I recall
Oh,
correctly.
yeah.
Last night.
Claremont lawsuit.
Well,
Yeah,
they did
not
that.
10 years.
It's been over.
Let's
They did it
see.
in the
Over
Mad
years.
I think
Years.
Rick Elliott in the high school was a senior in high school when he was a prime witness in this, and he's been teaching for
He's been around my road,
25.
growing up with the kid for a really long time.
He's been teaching for 25 years, but, so this is like 30 years
Yeah.
that this has been
He made it
This has
sound like
been
that in
in-
the last 10
in
years.
litigation
Oh.
at the state level.
For that many years, off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than
No,
that.
no, on,
Yeah.
not even off and on.
Claremont lawsuit, everything, they won it, and then.
Then it's
they
challenged
ended up
and
with
they-
this,
And they win and it's challenged
Yeah,
and,
and they did the statewide property tax, and then that was challenged, and the
So,
state.
this has been going on forever.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we need to make a statement.
We were asked to,
Well, the Nadnock School District had changed their formula to one of this sort, and
They started pulling out.
Well, Troy's been in and out of litigation over it ever since. This has been going on
Maybe
several
maybe they
years.
asked us to, but we don't have to do it just because they asked.
Okay.
I think
Make
there's
a
some,
motion that's.
there's some lack of clarity on, in my head anyway, on what, how this really would work.
Then make a motion about whether or not you want to have us make a statement or not.
I make a
You can
motion
decide.
that we not make a recommendation on that article.
Anybody want a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I might be, I mean, just because I don't want it thrown at me right now. Okay, so I need to put my mail, but thrown at me right now and me voting on something that, I mean, I would abstain, quite honestly,
I
I. If
don't
we
think it
voted on
really
this,
has
I would
anything to
abstain.
do with you picking up your mail, because this came out a while
Form
ago.
is still there.
And this came out,
That came out, yes, we got this the day before yesterday.
I'm not even sure I got it in the mail, I
Oh,
picked it up
this-
here. This came a couple days ago.
Right.
The other thing came the day before, yesterday or the day before? I
This
got it.
came yesterday.
Yeah.
The original one came.
All right, so there's three people, are you voting again, with Chris's motion, or are you abstaining, or what's your decision here?
No, I'm voting with Chris's motion, if that fails, I will abstain, that's all.
Okay, so three people are opposed to us including a statement. All those in favor? Of including a statement on the, okay,
Yeah.
all right, and abstain. Marge, are you in favor or opposed?
I'll be in favor.
Okay, so it's 4-3, and I would agree, so we will make a statement on it, so. Okay, so would someone like to make a motion in terms of that? Since we are going to include our opinion.
I would make a motion that we include everything.
No, what that opinion is
no,
going to be,
no.
we're already past that.
We get back off for quite a while.
I make a motion that we canvass the board with respect to our support or not of this particular item.
Okay, somebody want to second that? Okay, all those in favor of this ballot item?
Oh, we're gonna vote on the motion first?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. All those in favor of Sam's motion? All those opposed? Abstaining? All right, so 2 abstentions and everybody else in favor. Okay. Someone want to make a motion then about the,
No, I already made the motion. All we gotta do is canvass.
okay, so who's in, anybody in favor of this particular ballot item? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, 1 abstention, everybody else is opposed. Marge? Alrighty, moving along. The latest budget printout, I didn't get a chance to look at it from last night. Was there anything major that you wanted to bring up? Unless there were still some questions about the overtime with the
Yeah, basically.
part-time person?
Last night, I guess, we had even more overtime with our part-time person, and Chris kind of asked David, and David said that our part-time employee has it under control. That's basically how it went.
Does David have that
Part-time?
control?
His words was, he has it under control. That was his words.
So he
he's
controls how much of.
Employee is.
Oh, he's getting what he wants.
Right. The point is that just doing the addition, he's only got 1,500 hours he put in for the year. So when that's up, he's getting laid off.
And who wouldn't wanna be?
And if you can make as much money as you can
Overtime.
with overtime to make up for that time that you're getting laid off, then why not take advantage of it?
Overtime for this employee is not time and a half till he goes after 40 hours, beyond
And
40
he's
hours.
getting over 40 hours.
He is getting over.
He's averaging 42 to 43 hours per week.
And the,
How can you do that when we haven't had any?
well, that's what
That's
Glenn
what I'm
very
questioning.
questioned, yeah.
Well, his answer last night was that he's working on machines and keeping stuff in repair.
And the hourly sheets came by and happened to notice that, I think it was a Tuesday,
Tuesday and
Wednesday, Tuesday, and I went back to see if it had snowed on the last 2 Tuesdays, and it had not. So putting in 11 hours on a Tuesday, really? Like, you can't like stop fixing that
I
car?
guess the bottom line is if the board doesn't wanna do anything about it, there's not much we can do about it. So if the board.
Sure there is, we can force the issue. We can try
Well,
to
it's a
force the
new
issue.
board,
It's a
and
new
they
board.
may
It
have.
will be a new board, it's not a new
What does
board
the-
yet.
I know.
What, does the board have an opinion about this?
None whatsoever. Other than Chris just asking about the overtime and the other two didn't even chime in.
Right,
So
wow.
I pointed out that if you compare last year, which was probably the worst, you guys probably saw this, I said, comparison today, so basically last year to today, there were only $200 difference part-time, excuse me, $100 lower this year than we were last year this time for part-time help. And you figure all the snow and everything else that we had last year, and we're $100 less.
The other concern I have is he's working on a Tuesday, and there was no snow that Tuesday, or whatever day it was, if there was no snow that day, were the other employees working overtime? And if not, who's minding the shop? And,
Making
you know,
sure that he really is there 11 hours?
one, and two, you know, some jobs, especially if you're working as a mechanic or something, you know, if you're under a piece of equipment, they usually don't like you working by yourself.
Yeah, I don't think, most of the time I've gone in there, there's 4 people working on each truck, and I mean, we would never survive in the private industry the way they work on trucks.
So we gotta hold a fender, it's a
Exactly.
whole fall.
And
It's the muffler bearing.
Yeah, it's amazing, but you look at the overtime's actually in half of what it was last year at this point.
Right.
So you would think, in theory, that the part-time would be at least closer to half than it would be. And if
Yeah.
not, then I would assume, and this is my beef is that there's no snow, which means they could easily be cutting brush along the sides of the roads, they could be brush mowing and stuff, there's so many things that they can do out.
The grading, I saw the grader out yesterday.
Right, because of the mud and stuff.
They put the signs up.
So that's my only complaint is that, you know, I guess as long as we can put pressure on them, until we get a new board in, there's not much to do for the next couple of weeks.
All right, well, we need to keep it on the back burner right now until we have new boards.
Yep, and ask again.
It seems to me that it just feels wrong, and it would seem if you were an employee there and you were putting in your, you know, that it would be bad for morale. You know, so-and-so's going away on vacation or something, and, you
Because
know.
that's what the other thing, oh, he's got this trip planned and that trip planned, so he wants to get all his hours
Yeah,
in
that
now.
was the.
I was just like,
That was what he said.
That's great, but what's the good for the town? When does he
Right.
really need to be working?
The
I mean, it was
hours-
like,
the
they were all
hours
leaving
are-
out because
the
he's going
hours
on a
are for-
cruise. It's like,
The other thing
the
is
town.
that this has been allowed for quite some time,
Absolutely, yeah.
that it's not a current, obviously, it's not just last year,
Oh, yeah, it's pretty going on for a
it's
long
going
time.
on, and it's a mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what you can do until
yeah.
the board in there, until they, you know, they're the boss and all related.
Okey-doke, all right. So anything else from the latest budget printout?
Other than that, I didn't really see much. It's, well, one thing I did notice, it was the welfare line for the rents was extremely low compared to last year. And I'm not sure if it's because of the policy that they have of contributing when a landlord puts in a tenant, and the tenant comes down for help to the town paying for the rent. They are now applying that rent payment if the landlord is in arrears of their taxes. So therefore, they never used to do that.
I don't think they knew they could do that, so.
Which now encourages the landlords that are behind on their taxes to try to get people that can actually pay.
Good, not a lot.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing Linda said too, that there's some frequent flyers that have flown the coop too, so.
Yeah, she did.
So it doesn't affect its accounted as income now?
Actually, it would go towards the tax,
Yeah, to the-
Yeah.
Would go
Just
to
the
revenue,
base, right,
it would be,
right.
right.
just from one pocket to the other, it's just a matter of
But
switching.
it would still show up as a welfare fee.
Correct, right, yes. Yeah. And from what I know, what they pay for rent is only once, it's a year. They pay about $500 to $600 for rent. They take a poll actually of what the prevailing rate is for sort of a landlord says, I want $900, the prevailing rate is only $600 or $500, that's all they pay, and nothing more. So they do it.
Good.
Other than that, nothing else really, other than the oil and stuff like that, I really, since they've broken it up now, it's a little harder to track without actually
A
spending
few
the time.
years before,
Right,
you can see trends.
right.
We'll have to keep an eye on a couple of things. The police department has, if anybody's not aware of it, has hired a second patrol officer, Adam Howard, who lives in town. And he started Monday, I believe, or last week maybe, no, last Monday, week ago Monday, yes, okay. I know he was riding with Roger last week, I don't know if he still is.
I'm not sure what the status is of the '09 Cruiser anyways.
I was kind of wondering
I was
about
gonna ask
that,
that last night, and it was getting late, I said, the heck with it.
because it's been sitting in a certain person's yard, and it wasn't there when I went by yesterday or the day before. And I was kind of wondering if they drive it to work in another town, or if it's available for the new patrol officer to use.
Well, I know it needs work, because the problem with our vehicles, when we have two cruisers, is that they would sit and brakes rust up on them. And then, of course, once they get rusted up, they glaze over and you lose your braking capacity on them. So I know there's a problem with that, and there's a couple other problems with it, so I didn't see any bills come through for that department, so I'm not sure what they do with that.
Okay. Well, we should see the overtime start to smooth out in that area there, so.
Absolutely.
And then the other area that'll prove interesting is with the fire department, as a couple of updates with that. One, the New Hampshire Fire Academy has deemed that any kind of class that's strenuous, I don't know the exact term that they use, requires a particular type of physical. And so they sent somebody off who was taking, all they were doing was getting certified with their SCBA's, their air packs, and you want to be sure you're breathing properly, $800 for that physical. So they're looking for more reasonable physicals for one, because a certain form has to be filled out and certain tests have to be done, it's a standardized type physical. And, that's liable to break the bank, and if a couple people want to take those kinds of classes and have to do that, because of,
What are they doing for physical for?
I don't know.
That's the price of the physical or the
Yeah,
class?
physical. Yeah, so,
Somebody's making
Are
money.
they going
Yeah.
to the hospital or one of those bathroom boxes?
don't know what exactly they're doing. That was the first one. They are looking for, well, around here it's a little limited with that, so.
Well,
No, not anymore.
No, there's more than we've got loads of them.
We've got the
now.
convenient MD
Oh,
across from.
all right, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's the one near
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Chinese buffet.
I don't know if they do physicals.
Actually, better off with the PA before it work.
And then the other question is, and I agree with you, I always preferred the PA when
Yeah.
the practice that we were at in Connecticut, but whether or not they'll take a PA's on that, or it has to be an MD, I don't know, but just something that came up, so. As far as the new fire truck goes, the EMSG's, I don't wanna call it an advocacy, what did we say it was, an explanation of the Warren article last night, because it really wasn't advocating for it. We'll go out with a selectman's letter to explain why we're moving in this direction. And we've got 4 trucks that we're looking at right now, and the prices still have about a $30,000 to $1,000 spread from top to bottom. And we've fine-tuned the spec, and so the bids have changed slightly from where they first came in. There's a trip Friday to look at another truck, and I think we'll be looking at a 3rd truck shortly, and I'm not sure about the 4th truck, so we're moving along and should be able to do something hopefully by assuming it passes by the 1st of April, because that's when the bids expire, so that or the 4th of April actually, so.
Now, when you get to that point, that you decided on a truck and it is saying $30,000 more, are you planning on saying, we'll buy your truck if you bring it down $30,000?
There will be some negotiations if that's what it comes to, but I think, you know, there's still a lot of variables there. I sat down today and made out a sheet basically with a comparison sheet with the vendor's name and, you know, where the truck was manufactured, where the servicing could be done, because 2 out of the 4 vendors will actually come to us to do servicing that they can do here. You know, if it's something that requires a lift or something, then obviously we have to go to their facility, but one has a facility in Tamworth, and the other one is someplace in Maine, I forget where. And so, and then another one in Hopkinton, Mass. So there's, you know, it's not like there isn't anybody around to do servicing if necessary. And because you may pay for having them come out a little bit more, but it, you know, there's pros and cons for that. So, you know, we listed out the warranties and the differences, and you know, we'll have to sit down last night. Big spread in the delivery time, from 150 days to better than a year. So I have a hunch that would have an impact too, so.
Right.
You know, 2 of them were out on one end and one was, you know, the other 2 were in here, so we'll see. Yes, ma'am?
The new layout, they're breaking out fuel and mileage, but there's no numbers listed in, are these, is the police car running around on some other fuel than gasoline?
Well, the mileage, well, that I haven't really looked at closely, but the mileage is mileage reimbursement.
Right.
So if you use your own private vehicle to go to a class up in Concord, then they'll reimburse you for mileage instead of having to.
What about the fuel?
That I didn't look at on that one, it was.
We knew they were gonna break the fuel out, but
There's
I
supposed to
thought
be
they
some
put
form.
numbers in, I thought. They were supposed to.
There is a new line for
Fuel,
fuel.
yeah, it's $369.
Yeah, there's numbers
Oh,
there.
yeah?
Like under ambulance, it shows $2,000 requested. It
Yeah.
doesn't show it for 14 and 15, which may have been like